name and title here.
Sure. Michael Libby. I'm a volunteer with the Polk County Democrats, sit on the Polk County Democratic Central Committee. And I'm running for Senate for the state of Iowa.
All right. So ground zero here.
Ground zero.
Yeah. So what do you make of this as opposed to previous Polk County steak fries?
Well, this is huge. 11,500 tickets were sold for this event. That outpaces everything else that has ever happened before. You know, this is only the third year Polk County Democrats have done this. All the time before that, it was Senator Tom Harkin's deal in Indianola. So the crowd here has swelled to huge proportions. And I mean, when we had the front runners walk in with hundreds of supporters, it really energized this crowd. So we've got a great day for this, but more importantly, I think what's happening is this whole groundswell of how people are feeling. They're a little concerned, more than concerned, that the Democratic infighting might cost us. So I think what we're going to see in the very near future, some people coalesce around some really great candidates.
What do you think is the core issue that is really going to decide how people are going to vote this year in the primary?
I think there's a couple of them. One is health care. Clearly, people are concerned about health care. Do we do this incrementally, as Vice President Biden has suggested, or do we do it as Senator Sanders and Senator Warren has done it, just say, okay, it's going to be Medicare for all, you're going to lose your health care benefits? Well, you know, there's a lot of folks, and they're striking right now in Detroit against General Motors, 50,000 workers who have allowed themselves to say, no, look, we gave up, had concessions with regard to salary so that we could have health care. So how do we work that out? I think it's going to be really an issue. The other thing is here in Iowa, for example, is Iowa has a right to work. It's a right to work state, which really means right to fire. So anybody can be fired for any reason whatsoever. It has decimated our families. It has decimated the working family here in Iowa. We also don't do a good job with child care in this state. I mean, it's ridiculous. Right now, if a family of four makes under $34,000 a year, you can get assistance from the state. $34,000 a year for a family of four, get out of here. You know, that's nothing. So what we'd like to see is that increase to 200% of the poverty level. That's $54,000, at least it's a start. But education is another issue. I mean, people are really energized, and it's just not here in Polk County. I travel all over the state, and I've seen people really take this to heart. They're very interested in this election. Even in the 4th District, where J.D. Scholten is taking on Steve King and a bevy of others in 2020.
So how about folks that are in the state, I don't want to say leadership here in Iowa, I'm talking about also volunteers, supporters overall that come out every year and every election cycle. Have they started to break up into different groups here because there really are different points of view in this primary?
Sure, it happens all the time. You know, I've got good friends on all sides of the spectrum. People who are supporting Amy Klobuchar, people who are supporting Beto O'Rourke, and it goes on and on and on. But they're all good friends, all good Democrats. And I think what's going to happen this time, unlike it happened in 2016, I think Democrats are going to coalesce around whoever is the nominee. Doesn't matter. And they're going to push hard for that person to become elected. You know, we had a real divide here in Iowa in 2016 with the Bernie people and the Hillary people, and that cost us quite a bit. That's not going to happen this time. I think people are really energized, and they're going to move forward with the Democratic nominee.
All right, one last question. What's your central plank for your Senate campaign?
Wow, thanks. I appreciate that. And thank you for visiting with Kimberly Graham the other day on your show. That was a nice opportunity. That's an interesting race. We now have 4 people in the race for U.S. Senate, so that's going to be interesting to watch. For me personally, as I run for the Iowa State Senate, there's a number of things. Number one is to do away with Iowa's right to work law. I mean, it's horrible. The other thing is to restore the rights of individuals to bargain for health care and for their wages. You know, that was taken away. Right now in Iowa, 500,000 people are impacted by this for-profit health care group, 2 of them, that just got, I don't know about your paycheck, but it didn't raise by 8.6% this past spring, I'll bet you. I know mine didn't, but that's what the governor of this state gave these managed care organizations that are for-profit. That's on top of a 6% raise last year. So check your wallet, you know, and so a for-profit company does a couple of things. Number one, they're in it to make money, right? How do you do that? You either raise your rates or you cut services. I don't know of another way to do that. I'm a business guy. And so here we see that happening all across Iowa, and some of our most impacted people are suffering. So that childcare is another. We have childcare deserts where people have to drive 2 hours to find childcare. And if they're getting assistance from the state, then the problem is trying to find a childcare delivery system that will take that. So it's just everything that the Republican-controlled legislature has touched has turned into crap.
What's your state Senate district number?
My state Senate district is State Senate 22. I'm not running against just anybody. I'm running against the Iowa Senate President, who is the statewide director for ALAC. So it should be interesting.
All right, good luck, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for doing that, brother.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.